My name is Stanislav, and I will introduce you the Samsung school solution from the telecommunication side, let's say. This was the visual display side solution, but as Rafael said, there are some similarities, but we let's say a huge difference between the solution purpose. Let's say this solution, which is Magic IDB with all the things connected to it, is more like a, let's say, a local solution. But the Samsung school solution, which I will introduce, is meant for, let's say, integrating it to the whole school system, because it has also a server part, which is usually integrated into a server which is already in school, or a new server if the school doesn't have one. And from the Samsung school solution, the telecommunication side solution, let's say, there is also a possibility to manage all the students, to manage all the teachers. So it's, let's say, it's a whole package of different parts which are used in education. And to demonstrate it, I will connect my Note 10.1 to it. And to start with the whole solution, we need definitely to talk about what are the parts of the solution, what are the necessary, let's say, hardware parts. Of course, there is a necessity for a server, and as I said, the server could be already in the school. We can use the server which is already there, or we can implement a new server. There are some kind of technical requirements, but it's I think I won't focus on that much in this session. Another part which is definitely needed for the solution is Galaxy Note 10.1, either for the teacher or for the students. So it can be also used as a teacher, let's say, device, and it's the only client device which can be used by the students. So basically, students get all the information from this Note 10.1. But for teacher, there is, let's say, a possibility to use this Note 10.1 to move around maybe in the class, to conduct the lesson in a more, let's say, innovative way and the easier way. But on the other hand, if the teacher has already a PC, she can use it, or he, say, one can use it for content editing, for making the, let's say, the class, or to make for making the course, to edit some PowerPoints, PDF materials, Word materials, whatever is used in the lesson. So basically, PC is for, say, content management from the teacher side, and Note is for presenting the content on spot in the classroom. I would say it this way. And yes, and basically the whole communication which is required for the Samsung school solution is run through the server. Currently, our server is installed on a regular Note PC because we have few devices. It's okay to use it. If we have more devices, then we should consider to use, of course, a more powerful server solution for that. But okay, we have to restart the dongle, I guess. But I'm pretty sure that I can manage to get it work here. At least I hope so. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to talk about Samsung history. So it's a history class, let's say, and I will show you how the lesson should be conducted in real life on the example of Samsung history. What is happening with our download? Connected to some other device, I guess. That's the problem why I cannot connect to my tablet. Or, yeah. Here. Connected. Okay, so I have two notes here, which are the, let's say, student notes. For example, student 2 will be student 1. I have already also a third note, which can be also used for the student purpose. And the user interface you see is the one which is seen by the student. It differs a bit from the teacher's one. I will log in as a teacher and show you the user interface. So basically, this is the way how teacher would see it from Note 10.1, the whole, let's say, timetable. What are her lessons today, or his lessons? Currently, it's only Samsung history everywhere, basically from 11 o'clock. But yeah, you can see some similarities. There are some differences. The teacher, which is used currently, is called Professor Samsung, and of course, there is plenty of ways to add multiple other users. There are quite many ways to do it. But okay, so what I can see from the teacher side, or let's talk about the language. I currently use English because I'm conducting the session in English. But the language which is in the Note 10.1 is taken from the native language. So basically, if I switch the whole tablet to Estonian, it will appear everything in Estonian. Almost the same trick is with the server side, so it is in local language as well available. So it's not only about English.
Sorry,
yes.
One more question.
Yeah.
Is it possible so that the clients, the students, will have different languages in grade?
Yeah, of course. It depends on the student preferences. Okay. Yeah, they just have to set the Note 10.1 to some another language. Yeah, but it's possible because basically the whole, let's say, the appearance and the user interface is just the same. It's only a matter of translations. Mm-hmm. They differ. Yeah, but it's possible. So what can I do from here? I can, for example, Professor Samsung is currently a class teacher, so I have a class named 12B, which is my class. I have 3 students here. One of them is not maybe a very active one, but still. I can track the attendance, for example, of my students. Have they attended the class? Are they absent, late, or left early? So basically, this is the information which teachers input about my class students, for example, if I'm the class teacher of this particular class. So I can straight away track, for example, student 1 is left, has left early, or something like that, if it was late. As well, and also I can see the grades of the students. I guess that we don't have any grades right now. Or do we? No. Not in one or another lesson, but if we have run some tests, for example, then the grades will be shown here. So I can also track the behavior feedback about different students on this term or on the previous one. So I also have the information which is not, which is connected to the students from my class, for example. So I don't have to look it up somewhere else. It's all integrated in here. But okay, it's one part of the solution. Also, teacher has a place called library, where are stored all the, let's say, classroom contents. I guess mainly it is about PowerPoints, but you can also use Word documents. You can also use PDF materials, images, whatever else, basically. But it's I guess it's mainly about PowerPoints here. Another thing which is let's say a common maybe objection by different people is that many teachers have printout materials. So they have let's say paper materials, the old-fashioned materials, as well as my mother, who is a teacher in a school in Pärnu, for example. But there is a cool way called optical reader, which is usable in this device. So basically, you can take a snapshot of this document or this, say, printout, and you can straight make it to the. You could digitalize it, let's say. So that you don't have to just throw out your materials, which are good and used for a couple of years maybe already, which are very useful for you. You can just put them in digital format, and you can still use them in here. So yeah, this is the content part. As well, there is a quiz part. So basically, the whole idea is that the teacher either writes questions. Basically, she has to, or he has to write questions before making a quiz, and then you can combine this quiz of different questions made, for example. So we have some questions here. We have some ready-to-go quizzes as well. So the whole user interface is actually quite user-friendly. It's nothing really, let's say, hard to do, and you can straight away from here, for example, make a quiz. You can put the time limit as well here. You can put how many points the whole quiz is giving, to write maybe some instructions if there's something very important to say to the students, and just choose the questions, and basically the quiz is already done, if you haven't done it before the lesson, for example. So it's quite convenient and quick. Okay, so let's start a new lesson. I will start this Samsung history lesson. Here, like this. We're starting a bit early, but it's okay. The schedule is more or less okay. So I'm starting a new lesson. What you see here is the content which I already, let's say, prepared for this for the class. It's Samsung history. It's actually a deck which I really used on consumer trainings. So it's really the information which is about Samsung, and the way how teacher can present it. Either we can use, for example, display. It's not even about the interactive whiteboard. You can use just any display which has basically an HDMI input to transfer the image from my tablet to a larger screen. And the way how it is done done by an Cast dongle, which is basically it's a wireless display dongle. So I can show the content which I prepared on a larger screen. The other option is, of course, that if students enter the same lesson, I think we can do the same. You just have to push here and join lesson. I guess the all tablets are in English. So yeah, you're already. I think you join this lesson. So you basically will see the same contents which I uploaded for this particular lesson. And there is a way that students can, for example, scroll the contents themselves. So they don't see exactly the same image, but on the other hand, I can also make it this way that students see only the image which I am showing there. Yeah. So it depends, I guess, on the lesson, on the necessity. But I can either lock the screen of students so they just stick to the materials which I have here, or I can, let's say, give them the opportunity to scroll them and look for something themselves, for example, as well. So, okay, I'm showing contents. What can I do here? I can also, for example, write something just on the content. If there is a necessity to say that in the 1960s, Samsung moved into the key and electronics industry, then I can just point it out. I can draw here anything I like. And another very convenient way to do is to use the S Pen, which is embedded into the tablet. The pen actually is convenient on one hand, but on the other hand, it has also 1024 pressure, let's say, levels. So basically, it's the writing with this digital pen is almost the same as writing with a regular pen. Actually, it's why I'm talking about this is because there are kind of let's say success stories among Samsung that many say educational institutions choose Samsung Note 10.1 just because of the pencil, or one of the criteria is the pencil, because I think we all, let's say, use the virtual keyboards on daily basis, or the regular keyboards. If it's an OPC, if it's a tablet, then we use the virtual keyboard. And it's and from my experience, actually, I can say that writing by hand is not a very common thing I do every day, because I use it quite not so often. And problem with maybe nowadays children is that they use only virtual keyboards most of the time. So this pencil, Note S Pen, it's called, it will help students to use the old-fashioned way of writing things down. And because it's pressure sensitive, it's almost the same feeling as writing on regular paper with regular pen. So that's the whole idea of the pen. And as I showed, I can write everything I like here. I can choose different colors to point maybe some very important dates out. The same is actually with students. If they think that something written on the slide, it's either this slide or some another slide is very important for them, they can as well write on the slides, just to use the freehand, let's say, writing. They can also draw something, whatever. And, if they want to write down some more things, they can always use the S note, which is also used, for example, if they want to input text in this way, they can use it. They can write some notes maybe here, or the other way is also to use the handwriting, just write some important things here, like hello or whatever else, and they can save those notes as well. And they can, of course, move this window in order to see the contents, to write some important things down, to save them, and all of those notes will be saved in this note in point 1. As well as the things which students write on the slides or on the content. They are also stored locally, so they can later open them and see all of those notes which they made during the lesson. So it's quite convenient way of doing it. Okay, so that's one side of the lesson. Another side, which is available only for the teacher, is the student view. So basically, what is this? It's the way of teacher. It's the way how teacher can control what is happening on the screens of other students. So here I can see all of those screens. I have currently 3 students joined the lesson, and I can see everything which is happening on their screens. Of course, it's not the thing which teacher will most probably show on a big board. It's only for herself, but or himself, for the teacher. But it's a way to let's say understand. Are the students on the same track, or are they playing, for example, Angry Birds, or doing whatever, everything else, but not listening, for example. And if we discover that someone is not following our lesson, then we can choose. I would just choose randomly a student. No, there is yeah. I didn't make it on purpose. I just randomly chose the student free, and I can see in a bigger screen what is happening on the tablet of this particular student. And as well, I can use the lock screen function, so that it's a way of saying, please pay attention to the lesson, and nothing works basically, or the student cannot see anything else, just ring with the message. Or I can lock interaction, for example, that the screen, the touch screen of the student note will be out of order, so nothing can be done to this particular note. Or if there is a necessity, I can also use a private lesson.